Today we're at the launch of Camp Australia's series of development sessions designed to assist the personal development of school leaders. And having heard some fantastic speeches from Kierin Perkins and Dr. Martin Newman, I'm sure everyone would agree that today has been a roaring success. Anthony, what exactly is Camp Australia's involvement in today's sessions?
Today, Camp Australia is providing an information session for a lot of our clients and principals and teachers at schools that we work in, and it's some professional development for them. We have Kierin Perkins speaking on some leadership and inspirational events that have shaped his life.
It's the right person to say that sort of stuff.
Yes, he's had some phenomenal performances, so we're really intrigued to hear about his life and how he got to where he did and some of the great feats he achieved. We've also got Martin Newman, who's an expert on emotional intelligence, so something very important with kids today growing up and the leaders and teachers that take the children in our program, so we thought it'd be great for him to come and explain what he's been doing in that great area of research and how we can apply that and be better leaders to the future generations.
Terrific. Two great speakers.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
The late 80s, when really swimming was in a lot of trouble. We weren't performing particularly well, and the bosses of our sport knew we needed to do something. So they took the radical step of bringing Don Talbot back into the fold. When he arrived on pool deck over those first couple of years and instigated the fabulous "it's my way or the highway" option, it really shook things up. Now, I won't go too heavily into the methods because at that time in swimming, that was probably what we needed. I think if somebody came into our sport today and tried to do that, they'd find themselves in jail reasonably quickly. So methods-wise, we'll leave that one alone for the moment. But certainly in terms of concept, what it was that he did was really quite extraordinary in our sport. We had an individual who came into this fragmented world full of ego who said, this is how we're going to do it. We are going to work together. We are going to collaborate. And if everybody comes together and does that, we will all rise and we will all do better and be successful.
Paul, how does this conference benefit your school?
Oh, look, it's partly just getting together and networking with other schools and seeing what other schools are doing with their before school, after school care issues with children. We'll take it back to the school and take it back to our coordinators at school and just compare what other schools are doing.
And how do you anticipate what you've learned here today helping parents of the children?
Well, it's again, as I said, we're doing a fair bit of work on it, and we're liaising a lot with our parents on all these issues, not only the curriculum, but actually taking a broader curriculum out to the parents and saying, look, it's more than just maths and English and those sort of things, and broadening children's minds basically. Yeah.
Excellent.
Talbot brought in more camps. He brought everybody together into event groups, but then also as the Australian team or the Australian squad as a whole. And when he first started having these camp situations, he made a coach responsible for each of the sessions. So there might have been 15 coaches that were there as part of the group, controlling anywhere up to 50 plus swimmers. And instead of us all separating into our own groups during the training session, there would be one coach, one program, everybody had to do it. And it was only a couple of years ago that I found out that Talbot would make all of the coaches turn up to the pool 2 hours before the training session, sit them all in a room, and the coach that was responsible for that day's program had to write the program up onto a whiteboard and then justify every lap that the athletes were about to do that day, while his peers sat in the background there and in the audience and basically pulled him apart. Apparently that initially, as you can imagine, the coach that was up there would be open to a lot of ridicule, and the guys in the audience would do their best to pull him apart until they worked out that they had to do the same thing tomorrow. So they worked out it probably wasn't a good idea to be too rough on each other when they were going through this process. The collaboration created this level of expertise that was really unheard of in the sport of swimming. Nobody in the world was doing this at this stage. All of a sudden, Australia's got best coaches in the world. Our athletes are doing the best programs, and the success that you see today in our sport is very much a direct result of the leadership that Don brought into that environment at the time.
Kierin, you gave a really motivational talk this morning. and I could see everyone really enjoyed it.
Glad they listened.
Why do you think that your journey to sporting greatness is so motivational for others?
Look, I think the great thing about sport is that the anecdotes, the examples, and the lessons that we learn. It's very black and white. You touch a wall, you're fast, you're slow. In the training environment, everything is recorded down to the hundredth of a second. So, judging progression and success or failure is a very simple thing to do in sport. Converting that to our life in general, where everything's a lot more grey. It's just nice to have those clear examples as an example of what you can and should be doing. It's then just massaging that to fit around the greyness of the realities of our lives.
And how about leadership? How important has it been in sort of determining your success?
Look, it's very important. I mean, we all need role models. We all need people to help and guide us in what we're doing. And that leadership doesn't necessarily come from above. It can come from the people that you're working with every day, or even the people below you. When you see people achieving, when you see them striving, and really going above and beyond the call. That's inspirational for anybody, no matter what position you're in. So we all need it. We all need guidance and help, and the leadership, while it comes in many forms, is invaluable.
Yeah. Any leaders, sporting or otherwise, throughout your life that have been instrumental in getting you to where you are today?
Oh, look, I mean, you can't go past my coach. Obviously, we've been together for 18 years, and over that period of time, you really do spend more of your life with your coach than you do with your own parents. So, they have an extraordinarily influential time for you. I think, when I sit back and I look at other people's achievements and I look at other sporting events, I mean, we all appreciate greatness in the same way. Just off the top of my head, I can remember watching, John Neal's kicking the winning goal in that test, I mean, for a captain to step up in that environment and take the responsibility of the win is a great example of just how important leadership is.
And for yourself, I suppose, becoming a role model for younger people, how does it feel?
Look, it's not something I've ever really thought about.
Yeah.
It's just been a natural progression. I don't think as an athlete you ask for it. It's something that's thrust on you a little bit, but it's something I've always treated very seriously, and obviously as a parent it becomes even more obvious just how important it is and how much of an effect people like myself, our behaviour, our attitudes have on the future generations.
Absolutely.
In '92 at the Barcelona Olympics, you literally had to hold a gun to people's head to get them to swim in a relay for Australia. I don't want to do that. It's a waste of my energy and time. I'm too busy worrying about my individual. We're not going to win anything, so why bother? To getting to the point now where we've got athletes in this country who do nothing but train for relays. Their goal, their focus, all they want to do is make an Australian relay team. Your attitudes and the way you react and behave will shape the future generations. Your behaviour will be accepted as the norm, accepted as what is right, what is wrong, what is or isn't moral. Look, at the end of the day, when I talk to parents about this, I break it down into two things. Basically, the only thing that we can provide our children is opportunity and support. The opportunity to discover what it is that they enjoy, and the support to help them get the best out of that experience. I find it absolutely frightening that kids as young as 5 are specialising in sport. I mean, we all sitting here know that our 18-year-olds, when they're being forced into these decisions on degrees in the future of their lives, haven't got the foggiest idea what they want to do really. So why should we expect a 5-year-old to know whether they're going to be a football player or a swimmer or a runner? It's impossible. They've got no concept, no idea.
Martin, you've certainly brought the power of emotional intelligence to today's session.
Wow.
You have. Can you tell us a little bit about the basis of emotional intelligence and how principals can instigate it in their schools?
Yeah, sure. When we think about emotional intelligence, I suppose we're thinking about a set of competencies that underpin successful leadership. Emotional intelligent leaders, or what I like to refer to as emotional capitalists, are those remarkable leaders, extraordinary leaders who realise that really to build successful educational organisations, and for that matter businesses today, Leaders need to move beyond the focus on the day-to-day of the physical assets, the bricks and mortar, if you like, in managing those sorts of responsibilities, and to some extent even beyond the intellectual assets of a school, even beyond the curriculum and the business processes, to a new focus, really a focus on what I call emotional capital. That is the energy, the enthusiasm, and the commitment held in the hearts of everyone connected with the school, whether it's parents and community leaders, or whether it's students and staff and teachers. Everybody brings to the organization a certain level of emotional energy that we use to solve problems and create new products. So really emotional intelligence is really about tapping into that energy, I think, when we're really at our best. Enables us to innovate and to create new ways of thinking and behaving.
So I suppose today you're just encouraging principals to get in early and teach children the basis of emotional intelligence.
Oh, look, I think 25 years of research has demonstrated overwhelmingly that if we can really understand the building blocks of what constitutes the sorts of behaviours that really inspire students rather than bore students, or even worse, in some instances, dominating students, we can really draw out the potential of individuals and really maximise their talent, really make it dance in the workplace that they're preparing for.
Wow, the adults of tomorrow, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, this is the generation. I mean, people like Martin Seligman, the head of the American Psychological Association years ago, who wrote that wonderful book, Learned Optimism, really helped us understand, I think, the profound impact that we can have very early on in the development of children to set them up, really, to begin to view their worlds as opportunities rather than as a daunting task, and tap into the energies that they're going to need to really leverage the strengths rather than focusing on their weaknesses and their deficits. These are the drivers of what enable people to work well together, that enable people to retain resilience in the face of setbacks and opposition, that enable us to build cohesive teams, enable us to encourage weaker members to step up to the opportunities and challenges and manage stress. It's the emotional factors in any business or in any organization that will determine whether people will employ you, whether they'll buy from you, whether they'll hire you, or whether they'll enter into a business relationship with you, whether our students will engage with us as teachers and educators. All of these things are driven by emotional factors. When you tap into the things that people really feel inside themselves, the things that they believe, the things that they intuit and hold dear inside themselves, you engage people and they're capable of remarkable achievement.